I think we can just get started and possibly people will trickle in as we go along. And we're happy to, chat even if there's no video. Cool. So let's get this started. So we've organized today's session to kind of bring sales leaders together for a discussion. We don't usually do like mass webinars with hundreds of people. We do intimate events. Usually we do these twice a month. And today the topic that we will be discussing is AI in the prospecting and lead generation process. So I'm Ronnie, Rightbound's VP of Marketing, and I'm going to be moderating today's panel. 2 words about Rightbound. We're a generative prospecting app, and we designed our product to help sales teams find prospects. There are a lot of prospecting tools out there, but we connect with CRMs and sales engagement platforms, and we enrich existing leads, and we push fresh contact information to the CRM, to the right rep, and we also source new relevant personas that are best fit from the ICP. So I won't go in and expand on that. You can look up Rightbound on our website. Today we have 4 great panelists with us. They're all from agencies and they all work with sales teams on a daily basis. So they do encounter prospecting challenges and solutions on their day-to-day. So we have Janet here, founder and principal consultant at Marketing Strategy Solutions. We have Carlos from GrowTech, COO and co-founder of GrowTech. We have Philip, VP of Partnerships at Growthera. I love how that streams, Growthera, like one word. And Rohit, founder and CEO at Mavenwit. So hi, panelists. Thank you for being here. We had a discussion. Yeah. We had a discussion in advance and raised some questions, but obviously we're open to hearing questions from the audience. So feel free to write those in the Q&A or in the chat. We invite you to ask your questions, share your thoughts. This is supposed to be a conversation and not a lecture. One last thing, Rightbound is also sending DoorDash cards to everyone here. So look out for that in your inbox. And if you don't get it for some reason, check your spam. And if it's not there, we're sending it through Tremendous. So sometimes they do land in spam. So just give us a ping on the direct chat to Nirya and he'll take care of you. So I hope you enjoy the conversation. Let's go ahead and dive in. And then panelists, if it's okay with you, the first time you answer a question that comes up, if you could introduce yourself and say 1 or 2 sentences about your agency and your specialty, that would be amazing. Okay, so the first thing that came up when we had a prep session for this webinar was talking about, what are some of the key indicators that your company is actually ready to implement AI-based sales processes and AI-based tools. So I think, Carlo, can we start with your take on that?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Carlo. I'm calling today from Lithuania. So I own an agency, which is called GrowTech. I'm Chief Operating Officer there as well. So what we do, we provide specialized sales teams for our customers. So it's a white label solution, SDR as a service, you can call it like this. So that's a short intro about myself and my take regarding the early indicators when companies need to start implementing AI is typically before hiring a person or a salesperson. So I typically start if once you need to actually bring the AI, so you need to question the current process that you own right now, meaning that before asking for your HR manager that, hey, I need a sales rep, account executive, you need to lay down the process at the very beginning and question ins and outs. And then you will see how many cracks you actually have. Because if you would hire a salesperson at the very beginning on a broken process, So my take would be that you're wasting your own time, your money, and account executives' specialty, I would say. And what does it mean? So salespeople need to actually communicate. They need to sit in front of the customer, face to face or online, and need to actually focus on the revenue generating tasks. But if you don't have latest technology or the AI, so then your sales rep will need to write manually all the emails. They will need to research on the account. They will need to write the best compelling copy, which they won't receive an answer to. So you need to scale the sales team in a most efficient way. And yeah, revenue generating tasks for salespeople are extremely crucial, meaning that you need to focus on the scheduling appointments, selling, prepping for a demo, and so on and so forth, and not put a salesperson on a broken process which does not have latest technology or the AI that removes the manual and the repetitive tasks. So this is my very quick insights regarding when the companies needs to be ready to hire the AI agencies or something like that.
Yep, that makes total sense. And I see companies doing it the opposite way around all the time and saying, yeah, we'll implement the smart processes later. Let's just hire 12 more people. And then each person just starts doing their own thing. And when you do want to implement something, it's completely much, much tougher. So I definitely agree with you there. Philip, I think you wanted to chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Ronnie. Briefly about us, Growth Era. I mean, we pretty much focus on some of the things that Carlos' agency does. So top of the funnel, just bringing in new leads and new sales appointments. But we also try to focus on that mid funnel management and also just CRM services. I definitely agree with most what Carlos said. I think everyone needs to use AI. I think there have been plenty of companies at the moment that just because AI is a hot topic, right? Everyone wants to hear AI or just see it as part of a solution, as part of a software, and they're kind of like jumping on the boat. Even if they don't have AI. But I personally think everyone should use any sort of form of artificial intelligence, but first try to find the whys. So to what Carlo mentioned, you need to find the processes where AI will actually help, right? Not just hire people or not do anything until you have clearly defined what you need, what you want to do, and how AI can help you in that. I've always been a big believer that you need to know the essence of something. So maybe even, just manually doing a process where you get to understand each parts of it and what the benefits are and what can go wrong. And then based on that, try to see how AI can help. And it's obviously not going to be perfect all the time, right? So just that I guess manual exercise is gonna work wonders for trying to see, okay, this is where AI didn't really work well, so I can just go back, fix that part, and then just continue moving forward. That's that's kind of like my take. Another thing that I've seen is that people, jump too fast into implementing too many tools, and then that can backfire from a different perspective because now you're kind of like the jack of all trades but master of none. So you don't really have any control over anything. And if you're paying for tools, then that could cost a lot over time, right?
Those are really good takeaways. So yeah, the first being, ask why and what you want to achieve before you go ahead and implement something. And the second being, not to overdo it and implement a bunch of tools at once and think about the process and build it and plan it before the implementation. Yeah, I've seen many, obviously, this is like the year of AI, right? So many AI-based tools. And one thing that I always try to recommend when implementing, whether it's an automation or a new tool, is to think, how are we doing this today? Are we doing this in the right way? Do we want to engrave in stone this process? Because once you implement AI, it will probably do what you do manually better, quicker, faster. It'll be a better process, but it will still be automating what you're already doing. So make sure that what you're already doing is correct in terms of the workflow and in terms of the results that you want to achieve, and make sure that you're building AI on top of a process that you've looked at and you've kind of QA'd, I guess, and optimized on the manual part before you go ahead and introduce all of those tools that do, you know, take them to the next level. So definitely agree with what you guys are saying. So how, if we look at prospecting and lead generation, how can AI assist in the research phase, in identifying and maybe even prioritizing high quality, relevant prospects for account executives, SDRs, and sales teams in general? Rohit, can we start with you on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Sure, Ronnie. So yeah, see, I think for the prioritizing the high quality prospect for the sales team is pretty simple. We can say like like AI can be assisting in the potential customers for analyzing data, like identifying the customer patterns, where the customers are spending more time, where the customers are spending more efforts in the entire system. So it's better for us and it's better for the entire company, and it's better for the at the end for any organization to convert the particular customer into the sale, because when they can have the much better data, they can retarget, they can, they know the past behavior of the consumer, they know the geographic, they can retarget the customer, and they can have much more better interaction with the customer for sure. So I believe if you guys know, let's say for an example, we guys have did the meta ads. Obviously, every one of us know, like being into the agency and so on, like how to run the ads and doing the retargeting and so on. That's something which comes with the like how where the AI is a big fit, and AI helps sales teams focus their efforts on the leads most likely to result into successful sales. Like after having all these bunch of things, like these things can obviously deliver the more conversions, more sales, and more like closing rate for the company. Yeah.
Yep, totally makes sense. Janet, do you want to follow up on that?
Sure. Hi, Janet. I'm the founder and principal consultant at Marketing Strategy Solutions. And we focus on B2B small businesses with inbound marketing and sales enablement, really passing those leads over to the sales team to direct all of your marketing efforts to revenue. So I think from that aspect, AI really gets beyond some of the traditional like lead scoring and demographic scoring and things like that. That we've been trying to do, and helping you really understand, like Rohit said, like where are they spending their time? How valuable are they? A lot of times we'll see, in a company that's using lead scoring that somebody might have a really high score because they're like engaging with all of the content. But if somebody's engaging with all of the content, it might be an indicator that they're really just a tire kicker, right? And not a serious buyer. And so that high score could, really be kind of like a false positive. And so being able to use the IA to help, get past some of those things, as well as making sure that with the sales enablement and continuing those conversations, it is very conversational, and you're talking to the person with where they are, the type of information that they're interacting with, and helping them move along the sales process.
I love the false positive angle. Maybe they're your competitor who's studying all of your marketing materials. Carlo, I think you also wanted to talk about lead scoring and a few other tech.
Yeah, so lead scoring is essential nowadays, especially if your marketing does its good job, meaning they're bringing you a lot of leads into your landing page and they're filling the forms. So lead scoring definitely helps to filter them out. So as well, there are like plenty of tools that you can write everything about yourself as a company, what kind of products you're selling, what are your recipes, buyer personas, and any other intent data that you can feed the AI and help learn, like AI learns from your knowledge base. And once those leads are coming, so they are like automatically being scored with the AI as well. So that's like one element of the lead scoring. I think that another element that's quite important is what happens once seller and a buyer jump on a call. So as well, there are like not a lot of tools, but there are a few tools that I know that joins you like assistant, and they record the entire session, and they read, not just transcribes the entire communication between the seller and the prospect, which is as well quite important. But as well, there are tools that analyzes the body language, word selection, sentences structures, and all that. And as well, that helps sellers to actually better understand the prospects, what they're actually selling, if they're actually interested, if they're looking into the camera or they're not looking into the camera. So those elements that are not necessarily being recognized by all the salespeople that I know, but AI definitely helps in that way as well to prioritize leads and helps to close more businesses for the account.
Definitely. I've been using those more and more. So we used to only rely on a written kind of summary of a note taker. And suddenly this year, the market has exploded with, you know, as you mentioned, you know, body language and tone of voice and attention of the camera, the person on the camera. So it's really crazy. I always wonder, you know, who's analyzing and what is analyzing me after I go on a call. So it makes you kind of a bit more conscious, I guess, self-conscious. Okay, so we talked about prospecting, the research phase. What about the actual communication with leads? So how can AI-powered tools enhance the sales rep's ability to personalize outreach and to better conduct their outreach? Janet?
Sure. Yeah, I think this just, you know, continues on a lot of the other things that we were saying with really understanding, you know, what kind of content, you know, the buyer has been engaging with, because you want that to feel like a continuation of a conversation. You know, people, you know, on one hand, you know, people don't, you know, want their privacy invaded, but on the other hand, they're also expecting that sellers understand who they are, what their needs are, what they're looking for. They don't want to keep having the same "hi, how are you doing" conversation over and over again, even if they get passed, you know, from a marketing rep to a sales rep to an account exec. They want to make sure that that conversation is continuing and people know what their needs are, what they've already, you know, kind of looked at, and making it more of a natural progression through the sales pipeline.
Do you think people feel that messages are personalized in some kind of mass manner, or can you kind of tiptoe around that and still make a person feel like the outreach is personal?
You know, I think because we've had, you know, some basic personalization for so long, right? Just being able to insert a person's, you know, name or a person's title, that some people now are really starting to be able to see that, right? Like I'll see things because I'll have my name from my LinkedIn profile written in a certain way. And so it'll get personalized from my LinkedIn profile, which, you know, may not be like completely grammatically correct, right? Or the way that if somebody was typing it. So I think some people are starting to be able to identify and tell when it's kind of that programmatic personalization, which I think, you know, AI has the potential to maybe help smooth that out again. And it's still walking the fine line between personalization and like creepy stalker, right? We don't want to be creepy stalkers. So we do have to continue to walk that line.
I totally agree. I just remembered that a while ago, like 2 years ago, or maybe even 3, my title on LinkedIn was loading ... because I joined a new startup and my title wasn't really clear and I was doing a lot of stuff. And then I got this LinkedIn message, "Hi, Hi, Ronnie. I saw you're the loading at Rightbound, and I just had a big laugh. I sent the screenshot shot to everyone at the company. So I think, that type of personalization, as you said, Janet, it's been around for a while. People recognize it. And I think, again, like you mentioned, AI and tools that write different sentences based on different sources of data have the potential to do real personalization or semi-personalization that's much better than just inserting the name and the title. In terms of creepy stalkers, personally, like for me, when I get messages like, I saw you wrote so and so on Ronan's profile, LinkedIn page, and what do you think? So those kind of feel stalkery to me as well. I guess it's a matter of personal taste, but I do think that AI, even in the fact that you give a product like some copy AI or ChatGPT type of product, you give the option to write one email in 12 or 20 different ways, and then you sent that same email to 20 people and each one is really personalized. I think that's really personalization at scale, and that could work better probably, and also save a lot of time for reps. So that's my angle. Philip, I think you also wanted to talk about AI and outreach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything that Janet said really resonates. It's pretty much what we've been seeing as well. It is a fine line between being a bit stocky and then actually having good outreach, right? Just working with a lot of sales leaders, I've kind of gotten to a point where it's about maybe 80 when doing mass outreach, it's about 80% still, sort of templated, more generalized, and then about 20% personalized. I don't know, there's a lot of tools out there. I know that take snippets off of a company's LinkedIn or your LinkedIn personal LinkedIn profile, and also other sources. I think also email signatures and stuff like that, where, for example, if you attended a trade show, so now you can kind of personalize the outreach, or let a generative AI personalize the outreach so that it says, hey, saw you attended this seminar or this trade show, what have you. I think those are pretty nice. They definitely don't feel very stocky. It's still relevant within the industry, depending on what you're selling, could add that to it. But also what I've seen, there's a lot of tools that take similar clients of yours. No, everyone has their own ICP. So if you input 3 or 4 companies that are very similar between each other, it can find others. And then it's pretty much, if you've solved the same problem, the same pain point for all of these 3 or 4 customers of yours, likely the others that it's going to find are going to have the same issue. So you can personalize the outreach to be more towards, hey, are you facing these challenges? And then continue following up with, we help these companies that are very similar to you overcome those challenges, and this is the net positive results that they've seen. So I'm pretty much taking that sort of an angle when it comes to personalization with outreach. And yeah, I mean, generative AI is so prevalent right now for writing emails or messages in general, so it's quite easy.
Yep, that makes total sense. So you don't need to personalize for each specific person, but rather for a persona, a buyer persona.
Yeah, well, typically people would want to speak with you if you can solve their problem. So there's no need to get super personal, right? It's more about the business relationship and the
Yep.
business that you're going to help.
It's not about their college soccer team.
No.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my favorite question of the panel. Can you share some common misconceptions about AI in sales and maybe how they could be addressed? Rohit?
Yeah, for sure. So I think like biggest misconception everyone thinks in today's era for sure, I think like AI will replace salespeople, That's the biggest misconception I have heard of, and I have heard from many people and I believe you guys obviously have heard of the same. But that's not true. Like AI is kind of like an add-on. I can say AI is obviously kind of like an add-on which is going to work, and it's the one to provide value in insights and automating repetitive tasks only for the salespeople, but not just to replace the salespeople at the end. AI is obviously here to, like, so salespeople can focus on their relationship, building strong relationship with clients and customers, and then they can build, like, close the deals and close the sales. Another misconception is that AI is too complex or expensive for small businesses. I think that is something which we've been implementing from our own agencies, like from our own agency for a couple bunch of clients now, and we have heard the same too. But I think that's not true for sure. There are many, like, different bunch of affordable and user-friendly AI tools. I can name few. Even I'm not sponsoring those guys, but it's still like inside sales and Gong. Like we guys have obviously worked with Gong too from last 2 years now. And I think like these are the one of the best tools even small businesses can optimize as well. And addressing these misconceptions involves emphasizing the supportive role of AI, and showcasing accessibility and affordability, because accessibility and affordability is something like, because average like small businesses or someone like who doesn't have the big budget, so they used to look into something which is a little cheap too and can be user friendly as well, easy to implement, and like have a pretty easy to go and just plug and play. So I think these tools can do wonders for them, and these can be the best for them and pretty good to go. Yeah.
Yep, sure. Totally.
Yeah.
I love your points. Janet?
I think this, it's a similar thing, right? I think the biggest concern in AI in general is just the replacing of people, right? So, even, when we're looking, from an inbound marketing kind of side of things, right? And generative AI being able to do a lot of the writing, and some of those tasks, right? People are like, oh, writers, will be irrelevant. We don't need writers. But I don't think that's true, because, AI now, and even I think going into the future, is not writing unique new material with actual like insights, right? It's all regurgitating the same stuff based on how what information's been fed to it to learn, and just considering the way that it continues to learn off of that content. I think it never really will get to a point where it's writing unique perspectives. And it also isn't creating strategy. The organization still needs to have their own strategy, their own tone of voice, their own idea of what they're doing and why they're doing something. And then use the AI really to optimize and just be more efficient. But I think as people are just depend too much on the AI, it's going to make things a little bit more challenging for us again to now cut through the noise, and write interesting things that people want to read rather than the same old thing all the time.
Yeah.
Definitely. Every new tech that comes along, throughout history, the first kind of response is, oh my gosh, it's going to replace whatever.
Yeah.
And then that never happens. So the profession kind of changes or shifts, but it does not become extinct. I used to be a graphic designer 20 years ago, and then when iStock and all those similar like Shutterstock, iStock came in, people would say like, oh, there are not going to be any graphic designers anymore, but that's totally not the case. And even today with generative, graphic design tools, there are so many like Midjourney and stuff. There are still going to be graphic designers. There are still going to be content writers. There are still going to be sales reps, even if there are all those autonomous chatbots and email and assistants. Nothing can actually replace the human touch. And as you mentioned, create unique perspectives. That's our brain. That's no machine can do that. So definitely hear you on that point. Cool. So let's talk about cost effectiveness. Obviously, a lot of companies are startups. So how can a startup use AI to be more cost effective? Maybe to save on recruiting people, maybe to save on tech that's costly, maybe to cut time. What perspectives do you guys have on AI helping cost efficiency. Carlo?
Yeah, for the startup, especially startups are very sensitive about the cash flow issues and profiting and etc. So keeping agile, keeping the team agile and in the most efficient way, I think is very important. And AI or the latest technology as well is very handy to solve that. So my two elements is there are like tools for SDRs or account executives that are doing full cycle sales is the coaching part. So if you have a sales rep, for example, one sales rep, so as well you need to invest some time to coach the person, how he delivers the cold call pitch, how he delivers the presentation, so on and so forth. So, and as a coacher, for example, or if you're the founder, you don't have enough time to actually listen every single cold call or every single demo, rewatch, and etc. So there are tools that actually helps you to as well coach a salesperson. So that's a huge time savings. And as well, if you're not doing that, so you're not investing your time and efforts into the salesperson, then salesperson cannot perform at the highest level. So that's one element. When it comes to the offline communication, which is like emails or LinkedIn, so as I mentioned before, personalization is very hot topic right now. It's been floating for like 2 years approximately. And yeah, I totally agree with folks that said that do not be too creepy with the personalization that oh, hey John, I saw that you're eating at McDonald's, which is like totally creepy. So it has to be extremely professional, I would say, and you need to still connect to your product that you're selling and the problem that you want to solve for the prospect, for example. So, and it takes time. Just to write a single letter between 5 and 15 minutes, you'll take that time. So you can train your AI to actually help you to build those emails at scale. So I think that's like extremely important nowadays to, as a startup, to keep the cost low as possible. And as well, that naturally influences the customer acquisition cost. That's extremely important as well nowadays, especially if you're bootstrap startup.
Very much so, for sure. So I think a good kind of closing question for the discussion would be, what advice would you guys give sales leaders who are just kind of starting to explore implementation of AI-based tools into their tech stack, and that kind of connects with cost effectiveness, but not only? Rohit?
I think cost and like advice, what I would say is like, like implementation is like there's a pretty much phase of learning first, like before implementation, there's learning first comes up, because every business need to know what their ICPs are and what kind of communication they want to use with the customers. Do they want to have AI based in the email, having the email sequences running up, or they want to have the chatbot running up 24/7? So I think implementation like works from different sort of tools and so on. But I would say, like, let's say if you guys are implementing any sort of chatbot, so I will just give a quick 6 steps, like how we guys used to do, how we did for a bunch of other clients in our own agency, and how our clients have took the advantage of from our service, like they need to access their needs, like client needs to know what their needs actually are, then picking up the right tool. Like I have already told you guys, like bunch of tools which we can pick from. Maybe can be anything. It can be Gauchios, it can be HubSpot CRM, it can be Zoho CRM, it can be another sort of suite, And then there is something known as branding and creativity comes in, like designing up a chatbot and then putting up and it going making it live. And then is the end of the step, you can say maybe an integration with the site, so it can pop up and it can just actually come up in front of the customers and answer all the customer questions and so on. And then training the team, training the team is something I would say like it's matter just once at the end, because I have saw so many companies at this point of time have reduced 80% to 90% of their support staff just with one chatbot, They have built the chatbot, installed the chatbot plugin or chatbot in the entire site and so on, and it just automated all the processes. I think that's the one piece of advice I would love to give to all businesses. Like, like as soon, like as many as possibilities can happen, just automate the processes. Lower down the expenses of these any small business or any startup, because as Carlo already said, like startups, if are bootstrapped, it's really expensive to run companies, running payrolls, running finances, and having all these bunch of other softwares and paying monthly or yearly bills as well. So I think running and automating process is one of the biggest thing. And then once the chatbot is on, then it's just the monitor and optimization, pretty much, just looking into the stuff and monitoring and then optimizing into like retarget and improving that stuff. Nothing more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Janet?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've like touched on like a bunch of things. So to kind of, just bring it together with any new technology, right? It's the buzzword of the day. Everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's like, we need to implement AI. And it goes back to understanding why. Why are you implementing AI? What is the process that you're trying to streamline? What does your process look like, in your organization? Because every organization, the process looks a little bit different. And then, looking at the different options that are out there, which ones really match the organization, the goals that you have, understanding how you're going to measure success. What does success look like? And really making sure that you have those strategic questions answered first. So then you pick, the right technology partner to work with. I was working with a client recently, not an AI technology, but another technology that they implemented, and they've had it for 2 months, and then all of a sudden they realize that it's not working for them. And I'm just trying to figure out with them, like, what due diligence didn't they do? That only 2 months into using the technology, they've realized that it wasn't the right one to pick. So really making sure that you have as many answers to those questions as you can before selecting something and implementing something.
Yeah, I feel the due diligence, it's two-way, because once internally, as you mentioned, doing, the understanding what this tech is supposed to solve and who will use it and how. And then the other part is the due diligence with the actual seller. So I feel sometimes people kind of assume that the product will do something or another thing, and then they buy the product and they don't really check all those check boxes in advance, and then they realize that it doesn't integrate to something, or that it doesn't work in the way they want it in the region that they're selling to, or whatever miscommunication that they had with the seller, and then they end up churning, and they also have a negative sentiment on that product. So I think we as sellers also owe to our products, when we sell, to do this due diligence as sellers, and not only as buyers and as people who are implementing these products. So totally agree. Philip, I think you wanted to speak about like the learning process of implementing new tech.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much something similar that I mentioned, I guess, at the beginning of the call. Just trying not to implement too many things, but to actually learn a couple of tools that will take care of the most important processes, and really learn them thoroughly. Just become a master of those tools. And because it's AI, right? Janet mentioned previously, you need to feed it information in order to do its thing and to find its processes. It has to have a lot of information. So just I guess briefly on that, I would say.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, I think a lot of interesting topics came up today, talking about, you know, the buzzword of the year, AI. It's all around us, and a lot of products, a lot of processes, a lot of buzz around that. I think talking about, you know, the misconceptions and how to utilize AI if you're a startup with no budget. I think those are things that will probably be interesting to, you know, many first sellers in the organization. Usually, you know, a seller is one of the first people you would hire after the product is ready, after you have the product in dev. And I think that AI and sales, like AI in a lot of different professions, can really make our life a lot easier. But when when not implemented correctly, they can also, you know, waste our time and be non-effective. So I definitely think we highlighted some of those, you know, things to avoid or things to notice. So I really appreciate you guys' perspective. It was super interesting discussion, in my opinion. So it would be great if we can close with a quick, like, what 2 or 3 services your agency offers. And then when we kind of spread the word and send the webinar recording, people can reach out to you later on. So let's just go. I'll popcorn someone, and then you can popcorn the next person. Philip?
Yeah, so mainly our sales development service, which is like I mentioned, just lead generation, getting more appointments in front of your sales team. The second one is pipeline management, that I think every salesperson struggles with, just a lot of follow-up, a lot of note taking, which there's also AI for that at this moment. But overall, just getting an action plan in your CRM and to move deals further, just increase win rates and reduce sales cycle times. And lastly, I would say just any sort of CRM optimization or maintenance service. Those are the ones that we focus on. I'm actually supposed to popcorn someone else. Let's go with Janet.
Who's going?
So yeah, so marketing strategy solutions. We focus on demand generation strategy, primarily with inbound marketing, and helping, you know, target. We work with a lot of organizations that have very niche audiences. So making sure that demand gen and inbound marketing is reaching those niche audiences, as well as the marketing automation optimization to support those marketing campaigns, and sales enablement, really to pass everything through and make sure marketing dollars are turning into revenue. I'll pass over to Rohit.
Awesome. Thank you, Janet. Awesome. So we guys are the basically full service marketing agency, and we are in the subscription model. So we sell services starting from $100 a month and goes up to $5,000 plus a month. We have pretty bunch of clients based out in US and focusing on the entire Asia Pacific market right now. And at this point of time, we guys are obviously running an offer for every small business to sign up. We guys are giving free website to every small business. If you want to have a look on, reach me out on LinkedIn at Rohit Arora, or just go for mavendy.com. Thank you, guys. I will go to Carlo. Yes.
Yeah. So how we can help startups, mainly our customers are startups that are finding their own ways to the go-to-market strategy. So we typically help the B2B demo appointment setting service. So we are giving the entire team of lead research specialists, SDRs, and the project manager. So, and we're organizing appointments. So it could be either online meetings, or it could be offline in the exhibitions, conferences, trade shows. Another service that we do provide, which is leadless building. So if you have already your sales team and you don't want to outsource it, but you're lacking good quality leads, so I would say that we're providing pretty good quality for a very affordable price. And then as well, serum enrichment, that if you don't have any problems with appointment setting, or you don't have any problems with the leadless building, but you have some problems with the keeping your serum keeping serum hygiene. So we can help you with that as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panelists. So super interesting discussion. Thank you to everyone who was here on the listening end, and hoping to connect on social and see you guys again.
Thank you, guys.
Ronnie?
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.